Okay, so you want to buy a country. We know money isn't a problem for you. But are you ready to negotiate with the United Nations, fight off a navy, and discover that your new nation isn't recognized by a single government on Earth? And that's only the beginning. To understand why, you have to separate three entirely different things: buying land, buying a passport, and buying sovereignty. When the United States acquired Louisiana from France, Alaska from Russia, or the Virgin Islands from Denmark, these were sovereign-to-sovereign transactions. They were treaties signed between empires, not real estate listings. A private citizen, no matter how wealthy, cannot replicate these deals because no modern laws allow an individual to buy territory and simply convert it into a country. You can buy the property rights to an island, and you can buy high-tier legal status through investment programs. But you cannot buy international recognition. Money can buy almost anything, but it stops dead at the border of actual statehood. So, if actual sovereignty is off the shelf, what does the ultra-wealthy shopping list look like? You start with real estate. Larry Ellison bought 98% of the Hawaiian island of Lanai for $300 million. Yet he still answers to the state of Hawaii. If you want a passport rather than a private beach, you shop the citizenship-by-investment market. $100,000 gets you Dominica, $250,000 buys St. Kitts, and $1 million plus secures Malta. These transactions buy premium travel documents, leaving the host nations fully in charge. For those who want the aesthetic of a state, there is political cosplay. You can buy Sealand's rumored $900 million metal platform, or pledge allegiance to unrecognized internet projects like Liberland or Saborga. They offer flags, coins, and titles of nobility, but no diplomatic immunity. The uncomfortable truth of the high net worth market is simple. You can buy citizenship, but you cannot buy sovereignty. In the high net worth space, we are used to obstacles disappearing with a wire transfer, but the global order operates on a different currency. The baseline legal test is the 1933 Montevideo Convention. It lays down 4 strict requirements for statehood: a permanent population, a defined territory, an effective government, and the capacity to enter into relations with other states. But even if you manage to tick all 4 boxes, you run headfirst into the ultimate gatekeeper: recognition by other states and the UN system. This is the one asset that is simply not for sale. Take Sealand, which has clung to its rusting North Sea platform for decades, yet remains entirely unrecognized. Or consider the Republic of Minerva, which tried to declare independence on a shallow Pacific reef in 1972, proving that a declaration on an artificial platform is not self-executing. If you attempt this theater on dry land, like the Principality of Hutt River, domestic courts will simply ignore your royal costume and enforce the law anyway. True statehood is not won with a flag and a coin. It is an unglamorous process of diplomatic vetting, built through population, institutions, infrastructure, trade, diplomatic tolerance, and decades of drudgery. Your bank account can fund the sovereign attempt, but it cannot buy the system's permission to exist. In 1970, Leonard Castley was an ordinary wheat farmer in Western Australia. A bureaucratic dispute with the state's wheat board over strict grain quotas threatened his livelihood. Instead of filing a standard appeal, Castley chose secession. He carved out his 75-square-kilometer family farm and declared it the Principality of Hutt River. He styled himself Prince Leonard. This was no mere weekend prank. It became a multi-decade, full-time obsession. Castley built a complete performative state apparatus. Hutt River issued its own postage stamps, minted currency, printed passports, and sold noble titles to curious tourists. He even offered entry visas for a few Australian dollars. For 47 years, Prince Leonard ruled his agricultural empire, playing the part of a sovereign ruler with absolute sincerity. He finally abdicated in 2017, passing the throne to his youngest son, Graham. But while Prince Leonard was busy being royal, the Australian Taxation Office was busy doing math. The tax collectors did not care about Hutt River's self-proclaimed sovereignty. In June 2017, the Supreme Court of Western Australia ruled the secession legally void, declaring the family's arguments completely without merit. The court ordered Leonard to pay 2.7 million Australian dollars in unpaid taxes and his son Arthur to pay over $242,000. The total bill exceeded 3 million Australian dollars. Prince Leonard died in February 2019 at the age of 93, leaving his family with a massive tax burden. By August 2020, the dream was over. To settle the debt, the family announced the liquidation and sale of the entire estate. The Principality dissolved, quietly rejoining Australia. It remains a stark reminder: you can wear the crown, but the real country always wins. If a domestic government doesn't tax you out of existence, your neighbors will simply push you out. In January 1972, Nevada entrepreneur Michael Oliver dumped thousands of tons of sand onto the Minerva reefs to build a tax-free libertarian sanctuary. By July, the Kingdom of Tonga dispatched a naval detachment, tore down the Minerva flag, and annexed the artificial island. Oliver had a constitution, while Tonga had warships. Even toy state theatrics can trigger real diplomatic crises. In 1978, German and Dutch businessmen led by Alexander Achenbach staged a helicopter coup on Sealand, taking Michael Bates hostage. The situation forced Germany to dispatch a diplomat from its London embassy to negotiate directly with the platform's self-proclaimed royal family. When a border becomes real, surrounding powers react with real-world force. For an ambitious buyer, pushing a territorial claim means risking the same penalties that plague contested regions like Crimea, Kosovo, or South Ossetia, namely asset freezes, trade embargoes, and absolute isolation. A billionaire can hire private security, but they cannot outrun a state's military. When neighbors intervene, the illusion of the playground nation evaporates, and the project ceases to be symbolic. The hard lesson of private sovereignty is brutal. Your neighbor has an army, and you do not. Let's look at the math. A private island costs between $10 million and $300 million, and that is just the deposit. To make it livable, plan on $5 million to $50 million for basic infrastructure. Add at least $1 million over decades for legal and diplomatic fees, plus $500,000 to $5 million annually just to keep the lights on. If you want a defense force, it is effectively unaffordable. The typical pitch suggests offsetting these costs by selling stamps, coins, and novelty tourism, or peddling crypto licenses and passport sales. But selling passports is highly illegal under international law, and crypto licensing is a gray area rather than a clean workaround. The spreadsheet simply turns hostile. Your new sovereign startup spends like a state, but earns like a cheap novelty. Take that same $50 million to $300 million and put it into an S&P 500 index fund. Over 20 years, a historical 7% real return turns $50 million into $200 million. Spend $5 million of that on high-end citizenship-by-investment programs in Malta, St. Kitts, and Dominica. This transaction buys 5 legitimate passports alongside prime real estate in stable, functioning countries. Real power means global optionality, asset diversification, and immediate liquidity, completely detached from the headaches of political cosplay. True freedom is the capacity to bypass national borders, avoiding the impossible burden of defending them. Conventional investment assets buy absolute mobility and actual peace of mind. A pretend country buys 0 UN votes, a non-existent navy, and a 50-year tax evasion case. Ultimately, the ultimate luxury isn't owning a pretend nation. It's mastering the real ones. $1 billion buys unmatched global mobility and premier assets, not a diplomatic headache. Because at this scale, the real country always wins. Share your thoughts in the comments.